We're going to talk about these 4 books today. If you are struggling with binge eating and you just can't get a hold of it, you're trying to get back on bright line eating or whatever diet you want to do, this video is for you because I wanted to come on here and do this YouTube live because I finally just stopped binge eating after a month of struggles. Maybe it was 3 weeks, maybe it's 4 weeks, doesn't matter. I have been struggling for weeks and it has been very disheartening. I have really been trying every day to be bright because I do bright line eating, and I finally was able to just turn the corner last night, and I knew today when I woke up, I said, this is going to be my bright day. So, hey, welcome to my channel. If you're new, my name is Angela. I upload every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to help you with your weight loss journey, especially if you have binge eating disorder or if you do bright line eating like I do. I do a modified version of bright line eating where I add an extra protein, an extra grain, an extra fat, and sometimes an extra fruit because of my eating disorder. So I finally was able to turn the corner, and I want to thank everybody that lifted me up in prayer, because last night I came on here on YouTube and I literally did a short that said, I think I'm about to stop binge eating, but I need prayers. And I had several comments from you saying, I'm praying for you, so thank you. I want to start, on that note, I want to start with the first resource, which is, by the way, all of these books are linked in the description box below. And after I talk about each of these 4 books, I'm also going to talk about the Bright Line Eating membership, the 5th Bright Line Eating, the 5th Bright Line Coaching Calls with Dr. Joy. I want to talk about that. And I also want to talk about blood sugar issues, which I actually think I'm going to talk about in one of these books. So y'all don't let me forget about the Dr. Joy calls, because that's very important. So first I'm going to start talking about Rescued from Food Addiction. This is a devotional book by Kelly All, and if you don't know the name All, you should. Natalie All is famous in the Bright Line Eating community because she has written a lot of cookbooks. I have several of her cookbooks, actually just 2. I lied, not several. I have 2 of her cookbooks linked in my description box below. They are the Batch Cooking Cookbook and the Natalie All Volume 14 cookbook, which is just single recipes. And I had heard about Natalie All for a long time before I finally caved in and bought her cookbooks, and I'm glad that I did. I think that she is a blessing. Her batch cookbook is actually what helped me get back on bright line eating this go around, because I think I've been doing bright line eating since, if this is November, when did I start? Was it August? Was it September? I don't remember, but sometime in the late summer. Oh, it was September, early September, because I think it was Labor Day around that time. So it's been a few months, but this go around I was able to resume, and I've talked about that in previous videos. But basically what happened was I read her batch cookbook, Batch Cooking Made Easy cookbook, and there was a section in it where she gives her testimony. And I'm a Christian. I understand many people watching are not Christians, and that's fine. I respect your religious beliefs. I just ask that you respect mine. These are my personal religious beliefs. But in her cookbook, she gives her testimony where she talks about how her mother came to Bright Line Eating. They don't say the name of the program because they don't want to get sued by Bright Line Eating. I'm sure they've gotten in trouble with the company. I'm sure lawyers come after them because Bright Line Eating's really mean about their proprietary trademarked information, which kind of makes me a little irky, because I'm like, if you really want to help people and believe in your mission, it doesn't come across that way, because it comes across that you're just trying to make money. Like, to me, I'm sitting here trying to give y'all information and help you for free. You're not paying me, because I genuinely want to help you. Like, I literally want you to overcome binge eating if you have it, or I want you to stay bright if you're on bright line eating. But whatever, I understand companies have to make money and pay their employees. I get it. I respect that. Kind of get a little irky about it, because I know they have come after people with cease and desist letters. I always get on a soapbox about that because I just feel like it's rude. Bright line eating is kind of rude. Okay, I'm done. It's a good program because they are helping a lot of people lose weight. I'm done off my soapbox, I promise. I get feisty. So she gave her testimonial where she was talking about her mother coming to the program that she did not name, and how God had led her mother to the program because he said, your influence for me will be greater if you lose weight. And that hit me so deeply, because I feel like I do want to be just more influential, period. And I'm talking influential for everything, for my religious beliefs, for my job, for my blogging, my YouTubing, just everything. I mean, let's be real about this. Like, if you see me on my YouTube channel and you're subscribed to me and you're just like, can you just lose the weight already? Like, I don't seem like a credible source, right? But if I get on Bright Lane Eating and I stay bright and I lose a lot of weight after like 6 to 12 months and I hopefully hit my goal, you're going to be like, oh, we're going to give this girl a subscribe because she really knows what she's talking about. So that really got me. So Natalie All's Batch Cooking Cookbook was what kind of helped me resume this go around. This is the daily devotional that her sister published, and it is a really strong Christian family. The first page, or the first devotional, is From Fight to Freedom, and it's really good, like really compelling. And the summary of it is just how she has yo-yoed and struggled with fighting this, and she finally gave in and surrendered. And I just thought it was so lovely, and how she just really said she's going to do it. She went through a detox, and how Jesus, like she says here, Jesus said, those who cling to their lives, in parentheses she put, their addictions getting their way, eating whatever you want, living life your way, will give up true life. But those who let go of their lives for my sake and surrender it all to me will discover true life. Matthew 10:39. And so she said, this is what surrendering did for me. I completely let go of everything and surrendered fully to what I know God's will was for me. I fully surrendered to the plan. And then she goes on to say, I was free. And I just was very inspired by that. I've actually read this book and I'm just rereading it because it's helpful. So I found that truly inspiring. The second book is Resume. This one I feel like is always compelling. I've read it before, so this is my reread. Let me see the part I was in that really inspired me. Let me see it. I don't even know which part was that I was in. I just started the actions, chapter 6, actions, and how your identity is built through your actions. Like, your brain learns who you are and your self-identity just by the actions that you take on a regular basis. So if you want to be a Bright Line eater, just act like a Bright Line eater every day, and then eventually your brain accepts that you're a Bright Line eater. So that's like a really simplified summary of what it was saying. I really feel like there was more that just helped me with that. But anyway, that's a good one. Really good. I'm not going to say a lot about it because I've done like several videos extended about this book. So I'm just going to briefly mention that that's one that I'm reading. This one I think is the most helpful for me. So this one is the one that I really feel like if you had to choose one that you're like, what book am I going to read to really help me overcome binge eating disorder? This would be the one. Brain Over Binge Recovery Guide. And if you haven't read the book Brain Over Binge, I have it linked in the description box below. I think I've promoted it on my channel as being free, and I feel like I lied. I feel like it's not free, so I apologize. I genuinely thought it was free. I got it, I think, mixed up with Never Binge Again. That is a free ebook by Dr. Glenn Livingston. It's good. I do think it's good, but I like Brain Over Binge better. Even though I do really love Dr. Glenn Livingston. He's interviewed me on his podcast. I just adore that man. Like, we've spoken on the phone, and I was just like, I'm such a big fan of yours. I hope to one day meet him because he actually lives in South Florida. I don't know why I haven't tried to meet him before because he just is cool peeps. I told him, I was like, I will do your PR because you need some PR. Like, he should be on, like, the Today Show. Dr. Susan Pierce Thompson has been on the Today Show. Why has Dr. Glenn Livingston not been on the Today Show? Because he doesn't have me as his PR person. Anyway, this Brain Over Binge Recovery Guide is so good. And it takes the Brain Over Binge principle, which is just your higher thinking brain is always in control over your lower thinking brain, which is what causes you to have cravings and the urges to binge. And I just read the chapter Food Cravings and Food Addiction, and it was really good. And the summary is basically validating that you can feel as if you have a food addiction. You can identify as a food addict, and it is absolutely true that food can be addictive, and that when you have those cravings, like, I mean, I resonated so deeply with it. Let me find the part that was like, there are physiological causes, and it's true. And I was like, thank you, that makes me feel better. It was just basically saying like, how there are brain scans, you know, when you have a food addiction, it's like you feel like it's a life or death situation. Okay, there it is. I'm talking about feeling like you are going to die if you don't get those things, and then feeling the same way a couple of hours later about ice cream, and then a couple hours later about pizza. Hello? Yes, this is my binge eating disorder right here. Like feeling obsessively driven toward it, like you can't live without your fixes, then it's a problem, one that you might call an addiction. Addiction is characterized by repeatedly and compulsively seeking or using a substance or activity despite the negative psychological, social, and or physical consequences. It is often, but not always, accompanied by physical dependence, withdrawal syndrome, and tolerance. By this definition, binge eating certainly has addictive qualities on both behavioral and neurobiological levels, and since food is the substance involved, it's fair to say it's a type of food addiction. Sugar and carbohydrates are addictive, blah, 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 blah. So the book also in this chapter talks about how there are brain scans that show there are higher activity levels in your lower brain, and the prefrontal cortex has lower activity when you have the urges to binge eat if you are somebody that suffers from binge eating disorder. So that really made me feel better hearing that. But at the end of the day, the most important thing that this chapter reminded me of is that brain research on addiction does not rule out choice. So you are never powerless over your addiction and your cravings, because your prefrontal cortex, which is your higher thinking brain, is in control at all times. And so even though you feel those lower brain compulsions and cravings, you can always control them. And so the book says what to do about problematic cravings. It does start with make sure you're eating enough, and it has a whole section on that. This book goes into detail about making sure you're eating enough calories, and she said minimum 2,200. And by the way, that's almost double what you would be eating if you were eating the Bright Line Eating weight loss plan, which is why I have issues with the Bright Line Eating weight loss plan, especially for people who have binge eating disorder, because it's just not enough food. Like the weight loss plan, depending on the foods that you choose, is so low calorie, and it goes below 1,500. And I don't think that's a good idea. I think it does trigger urges to binge. It's like a survival mechanism. So I definitely feel like you need to have, if you're going to do Bright Line Eating, you need to have the Bright Line Eating weight loss plan, and then add minimum of protein, like minimum. I think it'd be even better if you did like one protein and an extra fat or an extra fruit. You choose. For me, the Bright Line Eating program that I do is 4 proteins, 3 fats, 2 to 3, I already said this in this video, 2 to 3 fruits, 2 vegetables, and 2 starches. And that's what I'm going to just stick with to kind of just stay there for like 2 to 3 months and just kind of let my addiction to the food situation kind of simmer down. Anyway, so that was the first thing, is make sure you're eating enough. The second tip it gives you is choose healthier foods to satisfy cravings. It talks about blood sugar. I'm really going to talk about it right now. And then use detachment, and then explore physiological causes and solutions. So I do also want to give a shout out to this book for making me feel better about the crazy cravings that I have after I binge. Like the next day after I binge, the book explained like your blood sugar sometimes is out of whack. And that resonated so deeply with me because, and I'm sure you had this problem too if you've ever binged, the next day after you binge, like you will feel crazy. Like you will feel like you'll eat food, and then an hour or 2 later you will feel ravenous, and it's like a false feelings of hunger. It's like the weirdest thing. Like, you know, you're not actually hungry, like your stomach is not empty, but you have ravenous feelings, like you just want to eat the world. You have crazy cravings, and you just feel uncontrollable, like completely out of control. And that is because your blood sugar's out of whack. And so it talked about this in this book, and I was like, wow, that is really eye-opening, and it makes so much sense. And then the book even recommended have a small amount of juice just to stabilize your blood sugar. However, on Bright Line Eating, we don't drink juice, like a fruit juice, because it can spike our blood sugar. So for me, a better option is just to do what Dr. Joy says in the Bright Line Eating 5th Bright Line coaching calls. If you're a member of the monthly membership or the app on Bright Line Eating, the 5th Bright Line coaching calls with Dr. Joy, the psychologist, talks about binge eating disorder. It's really helpful to have a snack, which they don't call it a snack, which is so dumb to me, but whatever. It's marketing, so dumb. It's a 4th meal is what she calls it. And she also says you can even add a 5th meal. And that's fine. You want to call it a meal? I'm going to call it a snack because I'm going to eat it at 3 p.m. That's my snack. Okay? It's my snack. So it helps me to eat a snack. And so I definitely recommend that. Okay, the last book I'm going to talk about is, and I've done a video about this book like a long time ago, like a year and a half ago, Food for the Soul. This is by Food Addicts Anonymous, and it is a daily meditation book for food addicts, and it's so good. One of my previous mentors on Bright Line Eating, her name is Monica, and I feel like at her highest weight, she was like 229, 230, and she got down to like 117, like bikini, ripped abs, whatever. Monica recommended this book to me, and I'm eternally grateful to her for that because this book is really good, like really good. And basically, there are dates in it, and in the date, it tells you, like it gives you a daily devotional, and I love this so much. I'm going to read you today's. Today is November 18th, being grateful for being a food addict. This is so good, y'all. Ugh, this is so good. When I first heard a fellow Food Addicts Anonymous member say, "I'm a very grateful food addict," I thought they were crazy. I had suffered years of unsuccessful dieting and a lack of control around addictive food. Whatever could anyone possibly be grateful for concerning food addiction? Once I became abstinent, I experienced life in ways beyond imagination. My cravings began to disappear, and healthy foods actually taste better. I am grateful that I actually enjoy food more and eat a variety of foods I would have never discovered had it not been for the Food Addicts Anonymous plan. Life takes on new dimensions when we are abstinent. We have clarity. For the first time, we are able to gain control over our impulses as long as we appeal to our higher power. Our bodies begin to heal, and physical ailments that have plagued us for years sometimes disappear. As the physical recovery progresses and we head toward our ideal weight, shopping for clothes becomes fun rather than a chore. What we have given up is minuscule compared to what we have gained in abstinence. Then at the bottom it has a little mini thought or a prayer. For today, I appreciate the gifts I receive from abstinence rather than concentrate on what I'm supposedly missing. I love that so much, and it's appropriate to end the video with that thought because I feel like that is what I was able to do yesterday to get me to the point today. I was able to say to myself, I need to fully surrender. I identify as someone who suffers from food addiction and binge eating disorder, and I know this about myself, so the only way I can control it is to be abstinent and eat the Bright Line Eating way, the modified Bright Line Eating way that I do. So thank you so much for sticking with me for this really long video. I hope that some of what I said was helpful for you. I'm sending you so much love and so much positive light and energy to help you on your journey. Let me know if you have any comments.